You're still watching Nile TV International. Earlier this week, His Excellency President Sisi received the U.S. Senior Advisor for Arab, African and Middle Eastern Affairs, Mus'ad Bulus, and they discussed together enhancing the strategic partnership between Egypt and the United States. And they also discussed, in the presence of Foreign Minister Dr. Abdulati and a number of leading Egyptian officials, the key regional issues, again, in the Arab, Middle East and Eastern Africa regions, and Sudan, of course, was one of those topics discussed. And in this very special edition, we will be talking about the development as a tool or as a means of settling disputes, again, in the Arab world, in the Middle East, and in Africa and Eastern Africa. And with us now here in the studio is Engineer Hassan Shaaban. He's an economic development consultant. Engineer Shaaban, thank you for coming to Nile TV International, and thank you for coming up at such a late time. You know, it's 11:25, but we're going to advance the clock 60 minutes, so we can say it's already past midnight. So thank you for coming to us very late here in the evening. Thank you, Engineer Shaaban. So development as a tool or as a means of solving disputes. How do you see, first of all, this concept?
Actually, this concept is proven, actually, in the past, efficiency. When actually you get countries to cooperate and try to find means to resolve disputes without really using force. I think these countries actually will always give priority to the interests of the people, because the people are the party who will always pay dearly in any war. So actually development is the door to resolve any dispute. Coming up with programs to integrate adjacent countries together in programs that will benefit all the people in the area, definitely bit by bit disputes will disappear, and the interest of the people will be the priority for all the governments in the area.
Before tackling this concept and trying to apply it to our region, I want to ask you something about the U.S., Israel, Iran conflict, war, truce, Cold War, whatever. Before we proceed, just one very simple question. Pakistan expects the talks to resume. Iran says the talks will not resume unless America lifts the blockade. The U.S. president is very optimistic that, you know, the talks will resume soon, and Iran has agreed to everything and will agree to everything, and so on. And Israel says it is ready to send Iran back to the Stone Age if they get the green light from the United States. So you see, we have such
different, right?
Yeah, I mean, discrepancies that can't be bigger. What do you think will happen in this upcoming period?
I think really President Trump will finally be able to cope with the Iranian mentality. The Iranians actually are very proud of their Persian culture, and they have this historical heritage, and this is how they handle their business and their disputes and the confrontation between the U.S. And the Iran or the Persian heritage. Definitely Iran and the States will reach a happy ending in the end.
Hopefully. And good to hear from you.
I think some time ago, many moons ago, Iran and the United States were allies, actually,
Right.
if you remember that.
The Shah time.
The Shah time, in the early 70s and the 60s. And I think once both sides will reason, and I think there will be an excellent chance for peace in this region in the future. It will take some time.
Yes.
It will not take a month or two as President Trump is thinking, knowing the Iranian, because I've worked in Iran for a whole year, and I know, I think the duration of negotiation between Iran and the States till we reach a happy ending will take better than a year.
All right. And there will be turbulence in the middle.
Definitely. We have to remember that the hostages problem in Iran, in the American embassy, took a very long time till it was resolved.
Absolutely.
So the Iranians have their own way of handling.
And will the Strait of Hormuz remain shut for
No.
such a long period?
No, I
Because the global economy is crying.
Right. China will actually, apply a lot of pressure.
Well, it's very good to hear that really optimistic view from our dear distinguished guest with us here. Again, we all pray for peace, and I'm very glad that Dr. Shaaban mentioned the happy ending. So you're echoing, by the way, Mr. Trump's words when he said the war will end very soon and everybody will be happy. That's what he said. But he now says, there's no time frame for the war, and so we'll see what happens. But of course, we all pray for peace and hope that your vision will be realized.
I hope so. I hope so.
Dr. Shaaban. So, and surely development can be a tool for resolving that dispute as well.
Right.
That big dispute. And speaking of the region, I mean, it is part of our region, so it's very important for us.
Especially this region is very rich, and they can afford very ambitious development programs. And I think this will, all the people in this area will benefit from peace in the future on both sides, the Arabian side and the Persian side. I think it will take some time, but we will witness a new era, and history will be written in a different way from now on. I think we will see a different environment within a couple of years.
Hopefully, inshallah, a healthier, much healthier environment. It has to be healthier. Engineer Shaaban, so applying this concept, the concept of development as a tool for settling disputes to Eastern Africa in specific.
Well, I think, the presence of the United States in the area right now, the United States is paying a lot of attention to this area and the disputes in the area. And, Egypt was a good a strategic ally to the United States for a long time, and we owe the American administration in the 70s, we owe them that they actually were the umbrella that hosted the Camp David Accords, and we reached peace with Israel, and that was like a very far idea. I mean, it was not within reach. The U.S. is very capable of coming up with ideas.
It was a dream of Israel, by the way, before that of Egypt.
Right.
It was Israel's dream to have peace with Egypt.
So actually, I think the U.S., once the Iranian-American dispute will, be resolved, I think the U.S. could play a major role in East Africa, because actually, definitely a country like Egypt have a very ambitious program to increase the areas where the plantation is required, and this requires water, and the river Nile, without river Nile there is no Egypt. Like, that's simple. So actually we're trying to explain And I think the U.S. is very aware of that, because
Yes.
they have been watching
Yes.
this problem closely for a long time. No River Nile, no Egypt. So the River Nile
The
is...
Ethiopian dam problem, of
Right.
course, yes.
So actually, we are not against any development programs for any country in the area. I mean, we appreciate any project that will bring prosperity and wealth to any country, but not on the behalf of other countries.
Not at the expense of the interests and vital interests of other
So
countries.
actually, I think...
And against any unilateral also
Exactly.
moves.
So actually, the climate changes were in favor of our area, I mean East Africa and Asia, because the rainfall rate over Ethiopia increased for the last 5 years recently. I mean, in a lot of areas, the rainfall, they are suffering from drought.
Right.
But in our area...
Thank God.
And you see, the rainfall rate is increasing, and you know, we were not that much affected so far by the dam.
Right.
And we have our lake front of our high dam full of water, which is called, you know, the reserve water for Egypt. So so far we're in good shape, but we would like to draw the attention of our friends in Ethiopia, and I hope that the U.S. will play a role in this. And it happens that there is an American consultant engineer, civil engineer, called Ivy Ostanesky out of Denver, Colorado, had a design for you know, the transfer of water to Israel at one time, and everybody opposed that. But with a little you know, modification to the idea of Ivy Ostanesky, I think the whole area will benefit from the water that seeps out of the Ethiopian plateau to the Gulf of Aden. I mean, indeed, there is a lot of water that falls in the Tana Lake and the area in Ethiopia. But there is at least something between 200 billion cubic meter to 400 billion meter of water falls into the Gulf of Aden, completely wasted. On top of that, while this water is seeping to the Gulf of Aden, it actually takes the fertile soil from this area, because it's actually charging, the discharge is very high. So if somebody comes up with an idea similar to the Ivy Ostanesky idea, and come up with reserve to prevent this water from seeping to the Gulf of Aden, this project could be financed by our brothers in the Gulf, Saudi for instance, and this 200 billion cubic meter of water could be actually transferred and divided over the countries in Egypt, Saudi, and Nakab and whatever. So actually, this project could be controlled by a satellite, actually. If the U.S. You know, comes up with an idea of launching a satellite that controls the discharge of water in the different dams and lakes and water sources in the area, without any human interference, this will be fair enough.
Right. Yes, thank you very much, Engineer Shaaban, of the Economic Development Consultant. Very sorry to interrupt you, but because we have to go live now and listen to U.S. President Donald Trump, who is holding a press conference talking about Iran.
I hope
So-
I hope he didn't get mad from what I said.
So let's listen in. Let's
Okay.
listen in.
That's a very historic meeting. They haven't met for many, many years, as I understand it.
Never.
They've never met. Think of that. They're next to each other. They're great people, and they've never met. This should be an easy one. Okay? Good question. Thank you.
The Lebanese law, we can communicate with Israel. What we can do about this law? Like, if we talk with Israel, it will be a crime for us as Lebanese. And this is a question on behalf of...
How is it a crime? How?
And the Lebanese law, it's a crime. They put you in
Well, I think we have to end that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's something we're going to have to end. I'd never heard of that. But that's a good start. It's a crime to talk with Israel. Well, I'm pretty sure that that'll be ended very quickly, okay? I'll make sure of that. And I know Lebanon doesn't want that. We'll end up... will you work on that, please, everybody? That's crazy.
The ship that was captured on Monday, you said there was a gift for the Iranians in it. What was that in that ship? The one from China?
Yeah, well, we have, that's very top secret. Yeah, there was stuff in there, but it's top secret. I'd like to let you know, that's a good question. That's one of those little questions where, oh, this is not good. No, it's, we have a lot of things that we got. You know, that the Strait, what we've done with the blockade is amazing, and nobody gets through, and nobody wants to get through, nobody's trying. The one tried, they shut out the engine, but nobody's trying. We have complete control. Now they can drop their mines in there and do all those stupid things. It's just going to take longer for them to make money because the mines are going to affect them much more than they're going to affect us. But and we don't know that they're doing that, but they could be that they're doing that. If they're doing it, it's a very foolish thing to do. Just like for Iran to shoot at Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar, and Kuwait, Bahrain, all the different places they shot. Nobody expected that. They thought they'd shoot at Israel in all fairness, but you didn't expect they'd be shooting at numerous other countries. I think it was a big mistake. If they're putting mines down, it's a big mistake for them, I will say.
Are you angry at China for what they sent Iran?
No, no.
So there's some reporting today.
No. I guess we do the same thing, don't we? With other countries. You know, it's like one of those things, but nothing that it wasn't earth-shaking. Yeah.
There's some reporting today, sir, that you intend to invite Vladimir Putin to the G20 in Miami. Is that the case?
No, but if he came, it would be probably very helpful. You know, I've said a long time ago, when they made the G8, the G7, they threw Russia out before my time. That was Obama and a certain prime minister from a place called Canada, Trudeau. And I said, that's a stupid thing to do. And I was right. You know, I'd go to these meetings of the G7, and about 90% of the meeting was talking about Russia and what's going on with Russia. And I said, why'd you throw them out? You know, if they didn't throw them out, they would have been much better off, in my opinion. You know, it should have been the G8. But when they threw out President Putin, he was very offended by that. He was, you know, rightfully, but he was very offended by that. I venture to say you probably wouldn't be having these problems if you didn't throw him out. Okay?
So he's not coming to the G20, as far as you're
Not that I know of, but
because there are senior administration officials being quoted in news reports this afternoon that says the Russians are being invited to at least ministerial meetings.
you're saying being invited as opposed to coming. I don't know of the invitation, but if he were invited, I don't know. You know.
Would you like to
Hey,
come
I'm
here?
of the opinion that you talk to everybody. I'm not one of these guys who say, oh, let's not talk to him. You know, there's a war going on. Let's not talk to him. I like talking to everybody. If you're a smart person, if you have control over your emotions and all the other things you need control over, I'm somebody that believes in talking. I don't know of that. I don't know that he's coming. I doubt he'd come, to be honest with you. I sort of doubt he'd come. But we're working on trying to get that one solved. That would be number 9. I've ended 8 wars. And that one is, but they continue to fight. The hatred between him and President Zelensky is extraordinary, I can tell you.
Can I ask you a FIFA question, sir? What do you think of this idea of replacing Iran with Italy in
I don't think about it too much. That's an interesting question. Let me give it, you know what? Let me give that a little thought. That's a very, is that what they're doing? They're thinking about replacing him?
Apparently it's a proposal.
Let Marco make his poly.
Marco, could you make a statement on that, please? What do you think of?
Yeah, there's nothing from the U.S. has told them they can't come. I mean, the problem with Iran, it would be not their athletes. It would be some of the other people that would want to bring with them, some of whom have ties to the IRGC. We may not be able to let them in, but not the athletes themselves. But no one's, I don't know where that's coming from, other than speculation that Iran may decide not to come, and then Italy would fill their spot. But if they decide not to come on their own, it's because they decided not to come. What they can't bring is a bunch of IRGC terrorists into our country and pretend that they're, journalists and athletic trainers.
Sir, is the government going
We
to
would
buy,
not want to affect the athletes. Yeah.
is the government going to buy a stake in Spirit Airlines?
So Spirit is an airline that's had some trouble. They were going to merge with People Express, or one of them, a number of years ago, and Barack Hussein Obama decided it was a bad idea. How did that work out? It's bad for both of them. That would have been a natural merger. Not United and American, but Spirit and the other. We're looking at helping them. We have 18,000 people that live in this country that are great people and great employees, and we're thinking about doing it, helping them out, and meaning bailing them out or buying it. I think we just buy it. We'd be getting it virtually debt-free. They have some good aircraft, they have good assets, and when the price of oil goes down, we'll sell it for a profit. I'd love to be able to save those jobs. I'd love to be able to save an airline. I like having a lot of airlines, so it's competitive. So we are looking at Spirit. It's in a bankruptcy. It's in bankruptcy court, and we're looking. If we could get it for the right price, I'd do it to save the jobs. And we have somebody that wants to run it, do a good job, smart person. And if they run it properly, and if prices come down, all of a sudden it's a valuable asset. And they have some very good slots too, which are pretty valuable.
You will visit Lebanon, visit Ambassador Isa to the embassy, because we're building a huge U.S. embassy in Lebanon. Are you guys planning to launch it or open or attend it for the opening?
You want to answer that?
Well, we're working on it. It's not done yet, but once it's done, I will ask the President to come and cut the ribbon.
We'd love to have you, Mr.
I
President.
have no objection to that. Go ahead, please.
In the UK today, they've just announced a total of $1.3 billion in return from digital service tax, which you in the past have called an unfair tax on American companies, you know very well. You previously called for investigations, but so far as we can tell, there has been none. Would you call
So what tax is this?
A digital service tax is the kind of, nicknamed it a tech tax or big tech tax, that kind of...
You mean they're going to put a tax on basically American companies?
It's already there, sir.
Did you say the UK?
Yes, sir, and they made $1.3 billion last year. So is that something you would kind of investigate, call for it to be scratched, have a look at?
We don't like it when they target American companies, because basically you're talking about our great American companies. And whether we like those companies or don't like them, they're American companies, and they're the top companies in the world. And we've been looking at it. UK did it, a couple of other people did it. They think they're going to make an easy buck. That's why they've all taken advantage of our country. They don't take advantage of it. No, we've been looking at it, and we can meet that very easily by just putting a big tariff on the UK, so they better be careful. If they don't drop the tax, we'll probably put a big tariff on the UK.
Or if they expect 5%, 10%, something similar?
Whatever, more than what they're getting. They shouldn't be doing that. All that's doing is really targeting great companies, but they're our companies. It's like us targeting their companies, which we could do very easily. But you don't have big companies like that. You don't have those great companies. Not fair. I have an obligation to protect our companies. That's how they became great. And they become great during my administration. My first 4 years, we had the best economy in history of my first 4 years. And this will blow it away. Look at it. During a war, we have the highest stock market. During a war, it's not a big war for us, but it's a war. And during a war, we have the highest stock market. I have to protect this country, so if they want to do the service tax, France did it also, and some others. And literally, I have a meeting after this having to do with that exact question. And what we'll do is we'll reciprocate by putting something on that's equal or greater than what they're doing. And they won't be happy about that. No, that's enough. You've asked so many questions.
Mr. President, I emailed the Virginia Department of Elections earlier today and asked them if they had seen any evidence of election tampering, of fraudulent mail ballots being cast in the Tuesday election, or if there was any evidence of non-citizens voting in that election. Why did you say that that election was rigged?
Well, you have mail-in ballots, and they found a lot of them at the end of the day, all of a
They said that
sudden.
they have received no credible information related
Well,
to
I know, you'd say that no matter what. You know, you've been saying that for years, and now they're finding out that the 2020 election was totally rigged. And when you look at what just, excuse me, how do you defend what just happened where your southern law, whatever it is, has given money to KKK, they're supposed to protect people, and they're paying all these people, crooked as can be, millions of dollars going all to all these people that they're supposed to be protecting from, but they're actually supporting them because they want to have companies that they can protect and because they want to rig elections. That was all a rigged election. All of the things with Charlottesville, all of the stuff that they did, and you won't bring that up, but you'll bring up some nonsense. Let me tell you, the election, we were winning all day long. It's a totally horrible situation. Hopefully the courts will overturn it, what they did in Virginia. You have a grossly incompetent governor. You had a very good governor. He did a good job. You know, all those companies that want to move into Virginia now, they want to move out and go to a different location. So that's my opinion. I believe it was a rigged election. Virginia's known for it. It was a rigged election. They had a lot of ballots, mail-in ballots. Anytime you have mail-in ballots, you have cheating. Did you have something?
Yes, you said that the U.S. will work with Lebanon to protect itself from Hezbollah. What does that look like exactly?
What is that?
You said that the U.S. will work with Lebanon to protect itself from...
Well, we're just going to work with them. I mean, we have a good relationship with Lebanon. It's amazing that, you know, it's the amazing thing is they actually have sort of a good relationship with Israel, and they don't deal with each other, but now they're going to deal with each other. We're putting them together.
What's the material support that you intend to...
We're going to help. We're just going to help them. We're going to help them. They're great people. It can be a really good country again, maybe a great country again. And I think you have all the ingredients, so we're going to work together. And I think Israel's going to be terrific. But they do have a common problem. It's Hezbollah. Okay, a couple of more.
Some House Republicans are saying that they don't want to vote for a bill.
All right, that was U.S. President Donald Trump live speaking to reporters about Iran, Lebanon, and a host of other issues. Any comments, Engineer Shaaban? And I heard you saying that he's repeating what you had said earlier, that he believes the war will end soon.
Well, I actually had a diploma in something called marketing psychology. And from the tune of President Trump in this press conference, I can tell you that we are approaching what I've just said. You know, I think both sides will have to reason, because the price that they will pay, both sides, the U.S. and Iran, will be dearly. I mean, the U.S. image and presence in the area will be affected. Iran, you know, as a neighboring and close country to us, will be hurt economically. So I think the sound of wisdom dictates that enough is enough, and let's talk about it and let's resolve the problem, because otherwise the price that will be paid is very high. I think our neighbors in Israel will have to realize that, you know, do not try to provoke Iran anymore. let's cool it off. If you're asking for peace, this what you will get within the next couple of years. So just sit tight and watch what will happen, because I think the coming negotiations in Pakistan will actually, result very positive agreements between the U.S. and Iran.
And Dr. Shaaban, just getting this in also, Mr. Trump announcing the extension of the ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel for 3 more weeks. So it was 10 days, now we have 3 more weeks. And we also have the talks at the White House to start, starting direct talks between Lebanon and Israel at the White House. Let's see where this
Let's hope that Israel will not violate this ceasefire, because the people in the south of Lebanon are suffering, and let's control the attacks over the
let's stop the
Hezbollah.
attacks. Let's stop.
Yes.
Yeah, let's stop the attacks and stop occupying and violating the sovereignty of.
I just like to invite President Trump at the end of this session to play a more positive role in East Africa, and let's try to get a happy ending to our dispute about water in the River Nile, because
this would have to be Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia.
and
Sudan
Ethiopia
is there
and
in the middle.
Eritrea, actually.
Yeah.
I think we will be able to, all of us, use the American expertise and experience in the field of irrigation and water reserve, and let's hope.
And make development a means for settling disputes. Thank you very much for being with us, and thank you very much for ending it this way. You actually answered my final question before I posed it, but we have to end it here anyway, because in 5 minutes.
I don't want to get in a dispute with President Trump, for heaven's sake, so actually, we had to get his conference, the press conference.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you very much. In 5 minutes' time, dear viewers, we'll be back with an update of the latest news around the world. On behalf of you, we thank Engineer Dr. Hassan Shaaban, the Economic Development Consultant. Always a pleasure to have you with us, and hope to see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Shaaban. Thank you for watching us. Please stay with Nile TV.